I'm live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Rise Report. Today is February 18th, and I am popping on. I did not give a notification, so let me know where you're tuning in. I was hoping I had my little book here, but that's okay. We're not going to dive into that. To be honest with you guys, I have been Spirit is pulling me in a different direction, and that's pretty much what I want to talk about in this video, along with some other things. So get ready, because there's a lot of stuff that wants to come out. First and foremost, Rise Innerversity is really here to help people navigating this current shit show. All right. We do that in multiple different ways. But one of the main ways is supporting those who are here to help with this transition, because that's what we're in, is a transition right now that is happening within our current collective. And this is the whole process of the darkness coming to light. It's a lot of information. And as someone who has known about these things for quite some time, it can still be a lot to take in and process and regulate your nervous system. So I really want to check in with you and see how you're doing. What are your feelings? What are your thoughts? You know, we are a very supportive community, and I've built a lot of things behind the scenes that have been in place. I may have not marketed them, but they've been in place to kind of help you get, maybe up to speed on what's going on, what is the truth that is going on, adding more tools to your toolbox when it comes to regulating. If you need someone to vent to, cry, whatever, that is my number one sole purpose. Second, my purpose is to help you guys get back to source. And how we do that is by really connecting to our internal library, our soul, which is connected to the divine. That is why it is the Rise Innerversity, because all the answers that you are seeking outside of you, where the confusion may be coming in, where you may be struggling, deciphering what is true, what is false. Is this a psyop? Is this not a psyop? Is really going to be coming from within. And when I had my spiritual awakening back in 2017, I had a divine experience. It's what really took. I had to have a divine experience for me to get out of the prison that I had created myself through the addiction. And that all came from years of trauma, programming, all sorts of things that I had to endure as a child. But being stuck in addiction for quite some time is a major portion of my story. And so it did take a divine experience. But what I realized through that divine experience is that the knowledge that I was seeking about the truth of the world, who we are, how creation happens, who is God, what my purpose is, started to come from inside. And when some people have heard me reference talking to the voice, it was the voice that saved me. And that was God coming from in. Hi, hon. Thank you so much for joining. Just kind of touching on the current shit show in the state of the world, and really want to offer my support because it's a lot. I've had some people really reach out to me recently, just, trying to make sense. And it's, going back to what I was saying, it's very important that we really get connected with who we are, who are our souls, because it is a fight for your soul. At the basis, when you strip all the stuff that's coming up to the surface, if you ever ask yourself why, it is because they want your soul. There's a spiritual battle happening right now that's manifesting on the surface, fighting for your soul. And what we are dealing with, and I have not fully gotten clear on what we're dealing with. I know that it is, some people call it an interdimensional being, demonic being. It's definitely not anything of light. I see it as an interdimensional being. I see them as archons. I see it being attached to the demiurge. I tend to lean more on the Gnostic side of things. Some call them reptilians. Some call them, whatever. But either way, there is something that has enslaved humanity for many, 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 many years. And they have created a world that we live in that is not the true reality of things. And they do nefarious things behind the scenes. And I can't even use the term evil anymore, because honestly, this is a lot deeper than that. I told a friend I think it was yesterday, I told a really good friend of mine that we will probably have to come up with a new psychological term for this, because this surpasses sociopath, in my opinion. With that said, finding the truth about things can, it's not easy. And it's layer upon layer upon layer upon layer upon layer. And they have been really good at being able to manipulate stuff. And it can, right now, what I see happening in the collective, is that there is information overload. And on top of the information overload, we have, different groups of individuals that will come in and just dump more information. Okay. And you really have to filter through this. And then also keep in mind that the people who are behind the scenes doing these things, they're really good at making themselves look good. Let me ask you a question to get you thinking about this. Did you know that the world's humanitarians and philanthropists are on the Epstein list? Let that sink in. These are people who are here to help humanity, and yet they were doing the exact opposite. Crimes against humanity. And so we as a collective, and what I am here to help you do, and what you guys are going to really start to see more and more in the coming days, because God is not allowing me to let this go, is, helping the people who are truly here, because not everybody's truly here. We're about to witness that. But those who are truly here to make a difference, step into that leadership role and give you guys a solid foundation to build upon. When I said things are going to be coming layer upon layer upon layer, we are going to start to see people who have been spouting from the rooftops not back up who they truly are. I'm witnessing that now. I'm hoping to repel some of them from my profile, because I know you tune in and watch. I'm going to be disconnecting from people, because in my opinion, and here's the example I'm going to give. A couple of weeks ago, so many people were ready to shut down their businesses, their online business. I'm going to take the day off. Get the fuck out of here. I'm going to call it like it is. You're going to take the day off of an online business. If you are serious about that, take the time to unhook your payment system. It's mine. And if it was about capitalism, why the fuck are the kids involved? All right? Because of ICE. My opinion on ICE. They may, I don't agree with anyone not doing their job ethically, but let's be honest. When you're in business, a lot of people don't do their job ethically, okay? You as well at one point in time. I don't agree with that. And when you get caught, there is a repercussion because of that. And that should be dealt with. However, I also feel that what's happening is that there's a deeper thing happening beneath the surface that we may not all be aware of. Okay? If you are here illegally, and you know you're here illegally, well, this is what happens. Okay? And don't trust the media. That's how I know it's an agenda. That's why I'm calling bullshit. That is why I have people who have been following me, heard me say it in my stories, that what you guys were contributing to was a psyop. It's a psyop when the media gets involved and pulls on your emotional strings to manipulate you, to get you to move and believe that you're doing the right thing because you're a good person. You should always be doing the right thing. And only you and God will know that. But on the flip side of that, okay, I can see why people wanted to get on that bandwagon. I did not. I just told you why. PSYOP, not going to do it. Not going to do it because it's being manipulated. So I'm not going to allow them to manipulate me. But I saw a whole bunch of people get manipulated. And then we had something really massive drop. Okay? That was important. Very important. It's our kids. Horrific, unspeakable, unthinkable acts are being committed to not just children, but people that probably don't even have a birth certificate, whose families don't know anything about. They don't even have a country to claim. Think about that. They probably don't even have a nationality. They were probably being harvested for something. And you guys were silent. Everyone that I have followed that has done or got on the bandwagon of that Friday protest, shutting your business down, your online business. I'm going to say it like that. You like it, you don't, you don't. It was stupid. It was stupid for people who has an online business to even get and contribute to that. The only reason you were posting something was to inflate your ego, to show that you were a good person and standing up for something. But yet when the truth that comes up to the surface, you say nothing. And your online business is all about being here for the change. It's a great awakening. The masks have fallen. I don't wear a mask, guys. What you see is what you get. Okay? I'm going to show up and be authentically me. Love me or hate me, I do not give a shit anymore. If I repel you, good. I'm a manifester. I'm meant to. I'm a 5-1 emotional manifester at that. I'm going to come through in a heretical way. But bet that the information I'm sharing comes from hours and hours upon investigation from that one line. So the reason that I really wanted to do this video is because it is very important that we really start to understand what is at play, what we are dealing with. Okay? It's serious, especially if you're here in the United States. If you're here in the United States, you need to know that we are at war right now. Not just a spiritual battle, but there is a war to take over our country and insert horrific things and certain people who don't even fucking live here agenda. All right? And some of you are contributing to that timeline and agenda. And in my opinion, that makes me stand up for my rights, who I am, and the protection of my country and my family, because now you're putting my country and my family in jeopardy. You're putting me in jeopardy because of some of the psyops that you guys want to contribute to. And so, moving forward, I'm going to have a lot of information. I posted one earlier about similar timelines that I see playing. Spirit is really bringing the Bolshevik, what happened in Russia during the communist takeover from the Bolsheviks, who were tied to a specific group that you're starting to see come up to the surface. And I may touch on that here in just a moment. It's important that you guys know. But they're repeating that timeline along with other timelines and down to almost a specific fucking date, down to the protest, down to the mixed information. What they were telling the people in Russia was not what was truly happening behind the scenes, and vice versa. Vice versa. They will manipulate you. They're the puppet masters. They will pull on your strings, and they do that by pulling on your emotions, making you feel like you're a good person because you're speaking out against a cause. We need to end this. But also know that a lot of the spiritual ideologies are compromised as well. They're psyops. Okay? Anyway, go watch Mark Passio's. Mark Passio did a great documentary on how the New Age community is a psyop. And some of you guys are still jumping on that bandwagon. And right now, if you appreciate your freedoms, if you enjoy going and getting your Starbucks, and you enjoy putting up in your profile and in your stories that you're going to take off because you own your own business, well, enjoy it. Because if that timeline gets manifested, that most of you are wanting to usher in under the illusion, it is an illusion, under the illusion that, it's all for, equality. Pardon me if I don't say that word correctly, but it's not. Okay? If you are someone who leans on the line of socialism is the first thing before communism. If you are someone who is for that timeline, then definitely get off of my timeline. Because I'm not going to stand for that. I came down here to help correct what's happening in the world right now. And we need more people who are leaders to step up to the plate. And it's important that you do. And the more the information comes up to the surface, there are just things that you need to recognize. Cognitive dissonance, being emotionally impacted. What is a psyop? Where am I being how do I get trapped into a psyop? Is this real? Is this not real? What's truth? What's fact? What's fiction? We need to learn those. And not everyone out there has the answers. I'm not the one that has all the answers. But I've done extensive amount of research, and I have been able to break programming myself and break through the illusions. And when I catch myself in one, I can snap myself out of it. I understand where I'm being emotionally played because I'm constantly practicing mindfulness in my life. I'm paying attention to how I'm feeling. How are my emotions influenced? What am I waking up with on my mind? They're doing a lot of manipulation through the frequency right now, especially during nighttime. So if you don't have organite in your house, if you're not protecting yourself from the EMF, if you're not unplugging your router and you have a towers near you, your thoughts are most likely being influenced over the night. Many people are waking up aggravated as fuck. They're emotional. That's all part of design. We're at war right now. The biggest thing that they did was convince Americans that it can't happen here. And it has been happening. As I've been waking up to some things that I have not noticed this whole time. And I'm like, wow, their plan, it's at our doorsteps. They may not be fully knocking at your door, but it is at our doorsteps. So, going back to that, I had posted a video earlier, I think it was last week, about the synchronicities happening with the execution of the Tsar of Russia, Nikolai Romanov, and his family. Horrific. That was a ritual, sacrificing ritual that was performed on that family. But that's what they did to enter into communism. And the synchronicities it was a 1 year, then it's a 1 year now. It was a horse year then, even though it was Earth, grounding, stability, and put it in there. We're going to implant it into the collective in a 1 year to get this started so they can insert communism. And one of the biggest holocausts that has ever happened that's not talked about in history. And here we are entering into, we have a 1 year and the year of the horse. So these motherfuckers like their numerology. They like their gematria. They like timing things with the stars. So we need to start finding what the repeat pattern is and looking at it as a collective and making better decisions based on what we know from the past. We're not going to have all the information because all of our history pretty much has been rewritten by people. A certain group of people that own everything, especially here in America, that you are now realizing all of our history books were owned by the same fucking sickos. But there are ways that you can find the information. They have given us technology for us to be able to translate and decipher what the truth is and what's not. And from my accounts, most of the bad guys were not so bad after all. Go figure. History is always written in the view of the winner and manipulated. So a lot of us have, who have been in this for some time, who have been following the narrative, who know the truth or have suspected the truth. It's different. We need to acknowledge that too. Just because we suspect something is true, when it actually becomes a reality in our etheric field, you don't know exactly how your nervous system's going to handle that. And that needs to be acknowledged as well. There were moments going through, after the e-drops were released. I have not looked at the e-drops. I don't need to look at the e-drops, okay? I have my own personal experience to know that this shit is true. And I was around to see Pizzagate before it actually became Pizzagate, okay? I got to see firsthand of the things that they would post on social media and the comments and, all of that, and the Wayfair. I saw it with my own eyes. I not from someone else's post, not from any of that. Like, I physically went to the website and saw it with my own eyes. TikTok's doing it now too, FYI. Just to let you know. There's some shops on TikTok that are doing it now. They haven't stopped. They're not going to stop. That's what we're here to do. Okay? That is what we're here to do. And if you are not ready at that level of capacity to step into that, then there are things that we need to work on. We're going to start seeing this. It's a totally different thing to spout who you are. It's different to actually show up and embody it. And there's going to be a new wave of people who are leaders who are going to be fully stepping into that purpose. And that's what I'm informing you guys of. That's what this page is about to turn into. I'm getting clear on what my purpose is here. And if I repel you, I repel you. I'm not going to back down from my beliefs, and I'm no longer going to capitulate to what other people's ideology if it does not align with me at all. So, yeah, I'm being told I think that's a lot. I really wanted to just kind of get clear on the Rise report. I know typically I was bringing in what was happening astrologically. We'll touch on that here in just a moment, but I may still do that. But I'm really going to be angling what I'm going to be sharing with you guys as bringing truth up to the surface, getting you to recognize the different patterns that they are playing, recognizing if we are falling for another psyop or not. Really, you getting to understand what your truth is and how to find that inside, not outside of you, inside. All the information that is being brought to me is because I asked. I'll give you guys an example of something that's coming up in my etheric field. About a week ago, I'm in Colorado, and, I live with my sister. And for a while, she lived in New Mexico. And where she lived was right very close to Epstein's ranch. Okay? And so we got to talking about that, and I was just kind of, when she lived there, it was, I think after he got arrested, right before, it was around that time. It was maybe like 4 years ago, I think, is when she was living there. And so I was just kind of getting her opinion. Did she pick up a vibe? What did she think about it? And, she gave me some details. It gave her the creeps. They have a gaming fence around it. So, people are finding out that the Hunger Games was not just a movie. A lot of the movies are not movies, but that was really going on. And there's not shit out there, guys. Like, you can do all sorts of kind of crazy ass shit, which we know these motherfuckers were doing to people without getting caught. And so, it just got me curious. One line, I investigate. So I did a search on is Epstein's ranch up for sale? And if so, who bought it? And the only thing that I could find at the time was a video on YouTube from a Santa Fe news station, and that's the closest town to the ranch, biggest city, as the airport that he would use, was on the, someone had bought it for an undisclosed price and an undisclosed buyer. Okay. That was a week ago. I literally said out loud, speaking to my sister, I wonder who bought that ranch. Literally. And God, I'm so tapped into God right now and my higher self and my intuition. Well, guess what just starts showing up on my timeline? The person who bought Epstein Ranch. And not only did he buy the ranch, but he is currently going through renovation for a Christian retreat center. Who the fuck wants to go there? Seriously, that place needs an exorcism. I would say bomb it, but there's too many, innocent people around it. We can't quite do that, but it needs a major fucking cleaning, in my opinion. Who would ever want to buy that place? Especially that immediate. However, there's something interesting about that story, though, that I didn't mention before, that the news station put out. There used to be a worker there that had called the authorities, called FBI, called the Santa Fe Police Department, called the news station. That's how the news station knew about it. Called everybody that they possibly could because he knew that there were dead bodies that were buried there. And everyone blew him off. All right? Everyone blew him off. And so here we are a year later. I ask, and a week later, the information comes up to the surface. It comes up to the surface because people have been going through the drops. And the person that bought it is another person who is from Texas, running for comptroller, trying to get voted in. Okay, so here we have another government official. We know they like that. They're all compromised. We have another government official who wants to make it a Christian retreat center. And keep in mind that even though that a lot of this is being ruled by the juice boxes, and I'm going to use that term, it's not just them. They're not just, they are disguised under that label. Okay. What you're really dealing with is Hamites. Okay. These are descendants of Ham. And if you don't know who Ham is, he's the son of Noah. Okay. Whose lineage was cursed for his deeds that he should not have even dabbled into. But they are descendants of Ham. You can't even say they're not even a Semite. So anti-Semitism is not even the correct term. And they only do that because they're hiding under Semites. But going back to that, like I said, they're hiding underneath that. They have also compromised the Christian faith and Christian church. Okay. They had control over a lot and have infiltrated over the years with the Catholic Church, the Roman Church, okay, in Rome. And if you don't believe me, people have been speaking out about this. Go look up Martin Luther's book. I was raised Lutheran, so I know who Martin Luther is, and it's pushed me to dive more into his work in the Reformation. And people who are close to me know that what I do on my free time, guys, I don't watch TV. I am like deep diving into whatever it is historically. That is like my little hobby. And obviously it's not a hobby because God's leading me to show me this information because all I have to do is ask. That's the whole reason I was getting, why I wanted to tell you that experience, but I'm just allowing the information to flow. But I just have to ask, and God brings me the information. So when it comes to the Epstein Ranch, like, it's just now hitting the news. Okay, I intuitively picked it up. I asked the question. God brought the information to me. I didn't have to go looking for it. It just pops up. And that is because what I have done with my spiritual team, when I had my awakening and the voice talked to me, I prayed for billboard signs and roadblocks. And I prayed for them in threes. Okay. So if I got a billboard sign, you know, as humans, some of us have to be hit upside the head with the same information, or we have to go through the same repeated lessons. And that's why I want to bring that attention to you guys, so we don't have to do that. But if I prayed in threes. So if I asked a question and I would get a billboard sign, and I would be like, well, maybe that's a yes. I don't quite know if it's a yes. Should I still do this? And then I would get another one. And my spiritual team would do it so intensively that the threes would come simultaneously. Okay. And I would narrow it down. One time, I can't remember what I was trying to get guidance on at the time, but I said, okay, give me billboard signs and roadblocks and make the billboards be in the form of fours. All right. Driving home one day, and this song came on, and it had something with the number 4, whatever. I can't remember the song. Or it was a commercial, but 4 came across. Maybe it was a price of something. It was 4 at 444 while I was passing 4th Street. 3 4s simultaneously all at once. And that is what really led me into, okay, there's something speaking to me. There's something that I need to tune in. And I started listening to that. So if you are very new in your journey and you are having trouble deciphering what is true, what is false, where you need to go, what information, start tapping into your spiritual team. Start asking for billboard signs and roadblocks. Ask for them in threes. Get specific. Give them a code word, okay? One time my code word was seahorse. Never in my life have I seen so many fucking seahorses pop up when I specifically narrowed it down and said, give me this. This is what I want. And it's very important that we start to do that right now at this time, because I think a lot of people, including myself, is starting to review the past. Those of you who are Gen X like me, you know, we're going back and we're like, wow, okay, like I went through that experience. Something inside of me felt weird. Like it didn't feel in alignment, like this wasn't right, but everyone else was going along with it, or the authorities or whoever was in charge, the school system, the power, our parents, the religious institutions, the government, whatever was telling us that it had to be this way. But something inside of us was telling this is not right. This is not in alignment. And we dismissed it. Because that is what they want. That's what they're after. That energy, because these people don't have that. They have to use us for that. Our energy, our life force. Who we truly are. They fear the day that we really figure out who we are. So if you ever ask yourself why, it's because God made you special. And they are not. They don't hold the light like we do. They have to use us as energy devices. That's what all those protests are. It's energy siphoning at its massive level. And for those of us who can see it, it's very painful to watch. And when your eyes are open to the truth, you will see. Being intuitive is not easy. Most people, I scroll through different profiles in social media, they say that they are intuitive. At a certain level, yes, you are. But when you are truly, when you are tapped in, when your light is on, The truth will set you free, but that's not always the easiest thing to go through. So, tapping in, that's my little rant. Tapping in real quick before I wrap this up. One thing I want to touch on is that yesterday we went through a solar eclipse. It was the Chinese New Year. It was a new moon too. That's what made it a solar eclipse, and the Chinese New Year. It was the year of the horse, fire horse. And of course we're in a 1 year. It's going to be very action packed. If any of you guys think that we're going to return to how the world was before, the big C is what I call it, that world will no longer exist. We are moving into a new world, and I am looking for the people who are actually serious and action takers who are here to make that change. And if you feel like you are one of them, please drop a comment down below, send me a message. With that said, things that are going on inside of Rise Innerversity, you guys are going to see me get more and more active because I'm being pushed to do that. Unfiltered, unraw, because I spend way too much time trying to figure out, how to put all these reels together and all this other stuff that I'm just going to bypass. So just going to be coming on and sharing what wisdom needs to come out of me because I have a lot. Ask my astrologer. We had a full meeting with him. Definitely got some oracle energy going on that I need to channel and get out of me because again, it's not about me. It's about helping you guys. The Roots Solution Masterclass is up and available for you guys to sign in and start taking. And it is, it's jam-packed with a lot of information. I think you'll get a better understanding of how manifestation and the magic works. This is the same type of magic that they use. However, they are using it against us, where my masterclass is teaching you guys to take your power back, really step into that sovereignty and start utilizing it for you against, you having free will over it, not it being manipulated against you. Okay. And that's why we get trapped into these psyops, why these timelines that they want to manifest, why we get stuck, why they have kept us, humanity, trapped as a whole, and why the world is the way that it is. Because again, they cannot create. They don't have that spark. They don't have that God spark inside of them. They don't have that energy. And so they have to use us as little batteries to be able to manipulate our free will, our thinking, our mind, our emotions into manifesting what it is that they want. So, if that sounds like something that interests you, it is based on the 3 forms of magic, what they are, the white, black, and the red. Then drop a comment down below and I will send that to you. With that said, guys, please know that I'm sending you so much love and I am here if you ever need to talk, vent, need advice, guidance. We have a couple of free communities. I have one, channel here on Instagram. That's where I typically go live. But I have one on Instagram. I have a Telegram community that is filled with a plethora of information for you guys to dive into. And then I also have a Money Networks community. Pretty much all my research is kind of put in there. There's some other things that I'm working on behind the scenes to get you guys involved because I do feel like I'm coming across a lot of information that is important to the collective, just like the video I did about the similar timeline down to the date. It was a day off. So with that, I also have, I'm working on organizing some other videos that's going to be a series for you to bring attention to something so you guys can start to notice the pattern recognition, because these fuckers use the same fucking book over and over and over and over again. And why? Why, let's talk business. Don't try to change something that works. Okay, that's the first thing that I'm going to teach you when it comes to business. If you have a funnel system that's bringing in all your clients, don't fuck with it. Keep it. Let it be in play. It's working. And they do the same thing. And they do this over and over and over and over and over again for thousands and thousands upon years. And they've been able to keep humanity asleep from seeing it, or by the time people see it, they die. So I think enough of us at this point in time are awake. That is what the apocalypse is. It is bringing that darkness to light. It is revealing the truth of how the world is run. And so I don't see it as being the end of the world. However, it's going to be the end of the illusion. And we need to make sure that we understand, and study how they did this, because we need to make sure that it never happens on our planet again. So that's my core mission. I think that's why God pulls me into researching and investigating. So if you have any questions, drop a comment down below. Thank you everyone who popped in and joined me. To be honest, I don't know what's happening in the sky at the moment. I have not been pulled in that direction to research. I've been in another pocket, but I will start integrating that because I know you guys do like it. If you are a member inside of Rise Innerversity, all of your integration packs have been posted. Make sure that you're tapping into that. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys on the next call. Much love. You have a great day.